Welcome back to Kris Greenhill's Garage. I'm Kris.
And I'm Kris.
You actually going to help me today?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. It's unusual. We come to you today from inside Project White Trash for the first time in a few weeks. It's been a few weeks because the battery's been dead. The battery's been super dead, like 2 volts dead. Like dead to the point that jump packs wouldn't bring it back. We had to hardwire it to another car with jumper cables just to get to start. One of the problems I've been having is I hook a jump pack to it, and jump packs are good for like, I don't know, 5 or 6, startup attempts. But this thing won't start because it can't get any fuel up to the carburetor. It can't get any fuel up to the carburetor. What I believe is the reason is my old Mallory fuel pressure regulator, my boost reference fuel pressure regulator that hasn't been produced in many years. The diaphragm's blown on it. It needs rebuilt. The problem with that is Holly bought Mallory like they buy everything. They ruined Mallory like they ruin everything. And they have canceled that fuel pressure regulator. It's no longer produced, and they no longer produce parts to fix it anymore either. I have tried to find a new old stock, and I've failed so far. The primary issue we're having is that when you give the carburetor the pump shots and you go to start it, it'll burble for a minute, but there's no fuel to run it on. It runs off the pump shot a couple seconds, but the fuel pump can't pull fuel all the way from the gas tank all the way forward. And that old fuel pressure regulator that can't be rebuilt is bleeding down the entire system. All the gas is draining down, and there's no gasoline in the system. Junior's car, which has a Mr. Gasket 2015 fuel pressure regulator on it, keeps full pressure at all times. You just give it 2 pump shots, fired right up, no problem. This thing does not. This thing takes forever to start. Let me demonstrate. I haven't fired this thing in a few weeks, a couple of weeks since I got the new battery. All right, a couple of good pump shots. It'll burble for a minute, won't start. Now it doesn't have any gas to start. See, that's pump shot. There's no actual gas coming up. This is the best it's been in a while. Can't believe we're drawing fuel already. It's been less than a minute. All right.
The car's making a liar out of it.
Yeah, it is making a liar out of me today. Here lately, it has been taking several minutes to start, to the point we've had to pour raw gas down the carburetor to get it to run long enough to draw fuel. This is the first time in a while that it is actually just started up and run on pump shot. The plan today was to show how long it takes just constantly cranking the engine to draw fuel, which was killing jump packs, which was also killing the battery. It also didn't help that I ran this battery for like a year without an alternator, which is what really killed the battery. But I got the battery warranted, so I got a new free battery, and now everything's just working the way I want it to work, which kind of kills the point of this video. Like I was saying, what I was going to do is I was going to show you that it takes like a solid 60 seconds of just cranking the engine over to draw fuel up to the fuel pump to get it to start. Today is the first time that hasn't happened in quite a while. Not really sure this video is necessary if it's going to keep doing that. Oh well, the show must go on, right? We're already here, may as well do it. My idea to fix this problem that I've been having of it taking so long to draw fuel and to pump was twofold. I am going to get a new fuel pressure regulator, because this regulator, when it does occasionally work, even while it's running, it'll eventually bleed off fuel back to the tank through the return that will have zero actual fuel pressure at the carburetor. You're flowing just enough trickle of fuel to run it, but you can't rev it up or anything, and you just run out of fuel pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install an inline little clicky-clack fuel pressure or fuel pump just outside the fuel sump to push fuel up to the regulator and up to the carburetor so that we can start getting an immediate fire like I want, like I got today, which means I don't need that fuel pump. But I'm still going to do it because I swear to God, 99% of the time, this thing will not fire. It's your fault. This thing is just going to behave perfectly normal today for the first time in months, isn't it? Kind of unusual that I would complain about this thing just starting and running, but it hasn't ever just done this. It has always had a slow crank issue. Anyway, on to the project. Still going to do it. Here's our Mallory 29837 boost reference fuel pressure regulator that I have owned since the 90s, 96, 97. It's basically 30 years old, and it was used when I got it, so it's over 30 years old. And you can't get parts for it, and they don't make it anymore. And while it has 3 psi fuel pressure right now, that will probably change if we ran the car a little longer. So my plan is to mount this little Holley clicky-clack fuel pressure or fuel pump inline just outside the fuel sump, wire it on a relay, and just hook this up and put it on one of the switches on the dashboard for those days when we're not drawing any fuel and we're having problems. Just click this and pre-prime the entire fuel system so the manual fuel pump doesn't have to draw as much. And yes, this is a flow-through fuel pump. It will flow whether or not the pump is turned on or not. It's not like one of the big Holley red pumps or blue pumps where you got to have electricity to use it. Now I have to figure out where to mount this stupid pump. This thing was not set up for an external fuel pump. Good times. Just got done testing the relay and testing the pump using the battery. They're both working, so I guess I can get started on this. Forgot how hard it is to jack up this car with this freaking gas tank fuel sump back here, and I don't know what happened to my rear bumper here. The exhaust pipe's got a couple inches of clearance, but something's broken my rear bumper. I'm not sure what happened. Here are beautiful exhaust pipes, which you saw a few weeks ago. Looking majestic. For everybody but the 5 people who watched my fuel system video a year ago or more, I have a sumped gas tank on this. This is my fuel supply line. Red is for return, so we won't be messing with that. That'll just stay there. And so I've loosened this, which I had mounted on the rear bumper. So our inline fuel filter. And wait a minute. Oh yeah, that is leaking. That isn't good. Might be another one of our problems. This thing is pouring gas on my hand. Because of the sumped system, pretty much having to drain the entire gas tank just to work on this. And as the boy just pointed out, this gasoline smells terrible. It's like 2 months old and it smells like trash. It's always a good sign. Freaking modern gasoline. Gas tank is finally drained. Can finally move on to try to mount this fuel pump somewhere. Here's what I'm thinking. This is an old mount we had for a Holley red pump that was on Junior's car, Project Piece of Stang, a couple of years back. But I'm thinking I'm just going to hang this, mount that up there somewhere, and try to get as level with the fuel sump as possible. I just realized that our little clicky-clack pump has 5/16 fittings, and I run 3/8 everything. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to tighten this down enough to get it to not leak. I guess we'll find out. It is quite a while later. This has taken a lot longer than I thought. Ran into a couple of problems, but I did not use the bracket I showed you earlier. I got instead just a long piece of metal, used a pre-existing hole in the tire well, ran a bolt through it, hung this down, ran a bolt through the pump, and it's just about the perfect height. It's right about the sump level. It's maybe half an inch too high. I might need to move this down to the next bolt hole just so it's gravity fed completely. But I'm about to see if that's going to be visible underneath the car or not. I don't want to hang the pump too low. I don't want to see it if I don't have to. Well, I moved this to gravity feed for sure. I think you're going to be able to see it hanging underneath the car. So I guess I'm going to have to wait till I pressurize it to see whether or not I can move it back, if it's going to work, or if the other bolt hole will be enough gravity to make it work. Dang it. All right, I think I've done all I can do here. I did move this up to the other peg. It still looks like it's low enough that it'll gravity feed from the sump. I had to reroute some of the fuel line to avoid the exhaust. I don't even like the exhaust touching the very tip here, or the fuel line's touching the very tip of the exhaust. I know it doesn't get super hot back here, but I'm pretty paranoid about that, so I reran the fuel line and zip tied it up out of the way. Now the crappy part of this is before I even go to wire the electronics, I need to refill the gas tank, see how much of this is going to leak, whether any of that is going to seal, or I need new fuel clamps and new fuel adapters. So I've got to put at least a few gallons back in. Then I'll worry about wiring the electronics. The boy is refilling the gas tank. So far everything's dry, but I haven't even tried to prime anything yet. We're still filling up the gas tank. Once I make sure none of this seems to be leaking, I'll go try to draw fuel through the manual fuel pump again and see if that's going to work. Now you're going to see what it's usually like when I try to start this thing on a completely dry system. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Again? It's already drawing fuel? What is happening today? Why is this happening? This thing's embarrassing me. But it's working, I can't believe it. How did this happen? The boy, this doesn't make any sense. We drained the entire system and it drew gas in like 2.5 seconds. I have a witness. You have seen how hard this thing is usually to start up. I don't understand it. It's just out to embarrass us today. Well, it's drawing fuel. Everything's completely dry. Everything's working great, but I guess I'll go ahead and wire up the electric fuel pump as a backup just in case, but it's drawing through pretty easily. I thought we previously had the relay off Junior's car when it had an electric fuel pump, but I just found it. This is the painless relay. We just tested it, it's working, and it happens to have all the wiring we already need to run it, so we're going to use this one. All right, we have the pump all wired up, the relay hooked to the fuse box and to the battery and everything. Kris, click on the auxiliary fuel pump. All right, and there you go. You heard it loading. Let's go check the front, see if we got fuel pressure. Yes, we do. It's gone up to about 1 PSI. Now that is through the regulator, and that is also through the manual fuel pump, which it is not intended to do. Go ahead and start it. All right, good deal. Here we have the fuel pump flowing 3 PSI where the regulator is set. That's a good thing. Still no leaks back here. Everything is dry. We've got our double filter system going on. That was pretty cool. We just had some guy pull up behind the 2 Mustangs and start shouting about how awesome they are. We went out and talked to him a little bit. He wanted to hear about them, so we told him all about them. Fired up this one real quick, which started right up like it's been doing all day. Well, that's cool. Someone stopped by and tell us how awesome the cars are. What is not awesome is the passenger side window motor is apparently burned out now. It is getting power all the way to the motor. The switch is working. Everything's doing as it's supposed to. We cannot get this window to move at all. I've tried pulling on it, tried greasing it, Tried everything. It just does not move. I think the motor might just be cooked permanently. Surprisingly enough, kicking it has made no difference. And because the window is down, I can't get to the motor to do anything with it. Good times. It is hot and I'm sweaty. We've been out in the sun wiring this thing up, installing that fuel pump and all of that. And guess what, boy? In a moment of clarity underneath the car a few minutes ago, something occurred to me. The reason we may not have been getting any fuel to the front of the car, and the reason it might have been bleeding out so fast and losing pressure and not priming with the manual fuel pump. Remember those leaks at the hose by the fuel sump and the fuel filter and all that when we got here, when we started? Have I ever mentioned that the slightest little pinhole of air, if liquid can come out, air can go in, that could have been our problem the entire time. That the system may not bleed down anymore now that we don't have those leaks. This may have all been completely pointless and useless.
But now we have a super cool switch because we have 3 empty ones. So.
Yeah, we made use of one of our empty switches. So, huzzah!
Huzzah! It's a race car now.
Race car, all right. Fire it up again so we can hear it. Oh, you don't need that. It's already primed. All right, she's back on the ground. You cannot see that fuel pump at all. Even if you get down here below it, you have to go all the way down here to see it. It is ready to rock and roll. It's working well. And most importantly, nothing's wet. There are no leaks. All right, I think we're about ready to call it. It just occurred to me that the more weight of gasoline in the tank, the more density the fuel, the more likely this is to leak. So we filled it back up completely and we're still looking really good. So no leaks from the fuel system anywhere. That's awesome. So the system has bled down some. We are back to 0 PSI up at the carburetor. Go ahead and hit the electric fuel pump switch. There goes the electric fuel pump. It's already bogged down. Okay, so it's just priming up to the manual fuel pump. It's not pushing through it. So we got no fuel pressure. With the electric pump killed, go ahead and try to start it on the manual fuel pump. Right up to 3 PSI. All right, good deal. Well, I think we're done for the day. I am baked and sun-fried and sunburnt and everything else. I think we're gonna call it a day, and I think I'm gonna give it a week and come out here and try to start it a few times. And if I need that electric fuel pump, I'll use it. If I don't need the electric fuel pump, cool, I guess it'll just sit there unused. Something happens, the manual fuel pump, we're out driving around, we can click on the electric and maybe it'll get us home. But all of this was probably completely unnecessary if I'd just sealed up the fuel system properly. But now we have an auxiliary fuel pump in the event we need it. So I tell you what, if the bottom of your video says the timer's about out and that's the end of the video, cool. Thanks for watching, we appreciate it. If it says there's more video to go, that means I'm coming back in a week and got some other stuff to do. So guess we'll just play it by ear and see how it works. It's 5 days later. Let's see if this thing starts, or I'm gonna need that auxiliary fuel pump. You've got to be kidding me. All this work I did for absolutely no reason. It's been running for a while. I'm gonna kill it, refire it, it's gonna start right up. Yep. The boy and I are gonna now take white trash, which just starts all the time now, instantly, and go run some errands on an unrelated project. One last time before I put this topic to rest. Been several days again. Oh. Huh. So today it's giving me a problem. Okay. Prime the system. Now this is what it's normally like trying to start this thing. What on earth is going on here? That's what it's normally like. Huh. So more than a week later, that little electric pump finally has some usefulness, and I feel a little bit vindicated because this is what it's like to start this thing most days. And then I got to make this video and then it just quits doing it. And on that disappointment, it's time to officially end this. I was just trying to move white trash up, swap spots with the black car so I could do some more work on this thing I've got coming up. Need to get it up in the air and get some other stuff done to it. Oh, speaking of the black car, there's the boy. But alrighty, well, that's the end of this video. Do I feel better? Do I feel worse? Finally had to use that little electric fuel pump to prime the system, but that's what it's been like for months, or since the day I got this thing running. Is the car sat for more than a few hours, the system would completely drain and the manual pump couldn't pull any fuel. So. All right. Anyway, I have a backup electric fuel pump for the days it won't start like that. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Goodbye.